So today we're going to dive into a very real conversation that not a lot of people are talking about. And today I'm pulling information, education, and experience from myself as a mental health therapist, myself as a mom, myself as a friend, myself as pre-mom, and what that was like. But we're going to dive into what is it actually like being a mom and what are some things you can experience when being a mom and going into it. I'm talking about things that people don't normally talk about. So here on YouTube, you can find tons of videos on what bottles to buy, what strollers to get, all of that stuff. But I'm diving a little bit deeper, the emotional work that people don't talk about, but what us moms tend to go through. And I'm not saying all moms go through this, but I want to give you a heads up, or I just want to relate with you if you have gone through these things. So this is coming from my own experience as all of these roles, as wearing all of these different hats to make this video, because I wish I had this video before becoming a mom. I just feel like it would have been so helpful, so relieving, so freeing. Sometimes we hold ourselves to these entrapments, where it's like we feel like, oh, we should feel this way. We should have this together. And sometimes we don't. And no one says, but that's okay. It's almost expected of us. So, without further ado, I am Dani Wigfall. Welcome to my channel. I am a mental health therapist, creative artist, wife, mom, yada yada, that list goes on. I'm going to be pulling from some of those experiences to talk to you guys today. And let me know, what do you think in the comments? Also subscribe, okay? Share this video with a mom, with someone that's about to become a mom, okay? I wish I had something like this. So buckle up, buttercup. Here we go. So let's start with something that people don't say out loud, is that you will grieve your old self. There are things about you that may no longer serve you in motherhood, that either start to fall off, you have no choice, it goes off, or you choose to change it, right? And some of that you may not necessarily want to go away. So there's a point where you're grieving your old self, maybe your old lifestyle. Doesn't mean you don't love your kids, right? But there is some opportunity for some resentment to grow in there. Sometimes it can be resentment towards your partner. Sometimes it can be resentment towards your kiddo, so it's important that we work on that piece, but also bring in some of what makes you an individual in that time. Whatever stage, even if it's newborn stage, you're not getting any sleep, make time for your individual self. Sometimes I will ask my clients, find something that you love to do as a child and bring that back in. Now, not everything can come back in, but that doesn't mean it's gone forever. That just might mean for this season, it doesn't serve you for it to stay. Now, that doesn't mean X out all the fun things. No, that doesn't mean, okay, if it doesn't relate to being a mom, X it out. No, I'm not saying that. Please add in things that have nothing to do with motherhood, but that fuel you and fill you up. You feel regenerated after you do it, or just sitting and being. So don't lose yourself in this, because it's so easy to lose yourself in this because we're stepping into a new transition. We're transitioning. But find pieces that can come with you that you want to stick to, whether it's hanging with your girlfriends, whether it's a hobby that you had, whether it's something you actually lost, but then you want to bring back into your life, okay? Find those pieces that do not relate to motherhood as you're transitioning and as you're going along this journey. People don't talk about the grief, but as you lose things or lose parts of yourself, grief comes in. And with grief, you have the stages. You have that sadness, right? That can come in. You have that bargaining. Bargaining looks like, well, what if I would have did this? Or what if I would have done this? And what if, right? You're bargaining. Oh, what if I would have changed this? Or what if this would have happened, right? You're going to go through these different stages of grief. And it doesn't mean you're going to hit all of them. Doesn't mean that at all. But don't be shocked if it comes up. If it comes up for you, you feel it, you move through it, you work through it, okay? Get the support that you need. Other stages of grief, we already covered sadness, bargaining. Then there is denial, right? where we're trying to bring all of our individual selves into this new stage where it's like, no, did this happen? I don't know. I could keep all of this the same, exactly the same, right? We're in denial that we're transitioning, things are changing. And just as it may have happened overnight, doesn't mean that you're going to change overnight. And that's okay. That's okay. Another thing in those stages of grief that moms don't like to talk about is there might be some anger there, right? You might be frustrated. That's okay. That's okay. And then there might be a point where you get to acceptance of, okay, I'm in it. I'm doing it. This is what we're doing. Okay. I'm figuring it out step by step. But don't beat yourself up if you go through these stages of grief. It's natural because you're losing parts of yourself, but you're also gaining new parts of yourself that maybe you haven't discovered yet, or you have discovered, you recognize it, but maybe you value it, maybe you don't value it, But look at your strengths, look at what's coming to, you know. And I want to let you know you are allowed to miss your old life. That doesn't mean you don't love your baby. Okay, that doesn't mean you don't love your child. That doesn't mean you don't love your partner. You are allowed to miss your old life. But also, don't stay there. Don't stay there. Find what's great about the now. Move into it. That doesn't make you a bad mom. Don't shame yourself. That makes you human. We are all human and we experience emotions. We are not AI, mom, okay? Where everything is perfect and everything. That's what I envision for the future, is like created moms. And there might be an AI called AI mommy that comes in and does all the things for you. Y'all saw it here first, okay? I mentioned it here first. It's coming. I know it's coming. Another thing to look out for is your relationships with people that you love dearly may shift, right? People that you thought would be in your life forever may not be in your life forever. Life takes hold, takes root. But I do want to say it's so important to not lose connection. And when I say connection, that doesn't mean you have to talk the same way you talked before, where if you talked every day, now we have to do those exact same things. No, but still just connection points, right? With your friends, with close friends. But don't be afraid if some people meander off, or you intentionally cut some people off because maybe they're draining you or whatever that may be. But relationships do shift during this time, but be mindful of people that you know are your ride and die. Fight for them, okay? Fight for your ride or die people. Whether they are in the same life stage as you or not. It's so much easier to cut people out when you feel like they can't relate because maybe they don't have kids, or maybe they don't have a partner, or maybe they don't have whatever the case may be. They might be in a different stage. Be intentional. That doesn't mean you need to talk all the time, but at least make connection points with them. Like, hey, how you doing? Or they invite you to something. Don't say no all the time, but also talk to them like, hey, I'm a mom now, like I wish I could be there. I want to be there, but I just can't at this point in time. And if there's times where you can be there, try to be there if you can. If it's overextending yourself and you're burnt out and you're tired, especially in the newborn stage, don't push it. Don't push it. But there's other ways you can show up for your friend. You can write them a card. You can text them. Hey, how was the party? How did everything go? It's other little touch points of connection you can do to really show up when you can't physically show up for the people in your life. Because during the stage, a lot of moms lose their friends. For whatever reason, there's various reasons here, but I want you to be mindful. Some people you will lose, and that's okay. But some people you want to be mindful in trying to hold on and fighting for that connection and being intentional in ways that you didn't have to be intentional before. So just be mindful that relationships may change, and that's okay. Connection points are what's really important. I have some best friends where I can talk to them maybe every other month, or we're touching base every few months, or whatever the case may be. But when we connect, it's like we never skipped a beat, ever. And sometimes with some of your friends, you might have to get over that hump of, wait, we don't talk every day. Does this person not like me? Why didn't it invite me to this? Communicate these things and have touch points. Don't just slowly start to fade to the background because it's like, oh, well, they're living their life and here I am, me and baby. No, it's so easy to slip into that. Don't reach out, okay? Reach out, just a text. a text, because they want you there, but sometimes physically it may not be the best for you to be there. It might be more draining. No one told me these things, that these things shift. You just assume I'm gonna have all my exact same friends, we're gonna be doing the same stuff. No. So now I have to figure out what friendship looks like now that I'm a mom, and people don't talk about that. And I think those connection points are key. It may not be the same as like, girl, we're talking all the time, or, oh, let's go to brunch here, let's go to brunch there, let's do that. It may not look like that, but I still think it's important to not just go 0 or 100, meaning no communication or we're always communicating, but finding that in between where it's like, hey, we're making connection points. So we are still checking in with each other. How you doing? What's really going on? Even having some deep conversations, or just being in each other's presence without the deep conversations is a connection point. I think that would have served me a lot better in the beginning stages of, it serves me now that I know, but I definitely had some hiccups in the beginning stages of becoming a mom. Going into sometimes we assume that we will have the exact same health we had as pre-being a mom, or even at the stage we're at now as a mom. We assume that we're going to have this exact same health for the future. For some people, that's true. For some people, that isn't true. One of the things I want to mention is take care of yourself. Our bodies shift. Our bodies change as we age. Take care of yourself. It's so easy for us to get caught up in the negative self-talk. It's so easy for us to get caught up in, oh, this shift, this change. I don't like this. I don't like that. Okay? Take the time to work through that and know that your body has carried you through all of these emotions, through all of the experiences that you have experienced. Your body has carried you through this. Your body was your first home. Your body was your first home. So take care of it, nurture it, nourish it, and be kind to it. Because so many times when we become a mom, it's so easy to be like, this changed and that changed, and I don't like this, I don't like that. And we start attacking ourselves, right? Instead of taking the time to really uplift ourselves and recognize there's positive too. Yes, I don't like that this changed. Don't deny that you don't like those things. That's okay. But don't let it all be negative. Be able to take some time and recognize that there's positive too. Your body was with you through all of these different experiences and has carried you through. You are still here today. So take that time to love on her, especially if you know that sometimes you aren't kind to her because she may not look or fit a certain aesthetic that you want her to. So work on that. Don't assume that you're going to have your health, okay? Work on your health, nourish her, love her, fuel her. Because as she starts to feel better, as she's feeling better, inside, that inner work will feel better too. And that will come out. That will come out for you as a parent. That will come out for you as a friend. That will come out as how you just show up and walk through this world. Sometimes we can't control what happens to us, but take time to nurture what you do have. Whew, okay, this is one I talk about in my virtual office all the time, where moms are like, okay, don't judge me, but this one is so common, but I never heard anyone talk about this ever, I think ever, before becoming a mom. And that is, you may not have an instant attachment with your child. Like as soon as you get child, attach, a bond, a love that's there, okay? No one talks about that. Sometimes that is not natural and it doesn't happen, and that's okay. Naturally, relationships take time to build. Even with your child, your baby, your kid, however they come into your life, sometimes it takes time. Now, sometimes it's love at first sight. It might be love at first sight. If it's not love at first sight for you, don't shame yourself. It's okay. Know that relationships take time. They take investment. They take connection. And you just might need more connection, okay? This transition might be a bigger transition for you. So acknowledge that. That's okay. That is okay. And it doesn't mean you won't have that connection. But it's definitely not going to help you feeling bad about oh my goodness, I don't have that instant bond with my child. I don't have that instant bond with my baby. Something's wrong with me. Maybe I don't love my baby. And then we start going down this negative spiral, right? No, it's okay. That's fine. Still show up for your baby. Still do all of the things and invest your time, and that love will grow. I haven't met a mom yet where that love doesn't grow. The love grows, okay? Now, there's experience along the way as your kid grows and they become certain ages and things like that, and you're like, but that's different, okay? I'm talking in those beginning stages where you're expecting to have that instant bond, that instant, like just, oh my goodness, that gushing of love, and it doesn't happen for you. Nothing's wrong with you. Nothing is broken. Please do not shame yourself for that. It is more common than I think has ever been documented because I have seen it and heard it so many times, period. And I have experienced where it's like, oh, wait a second, I don't feel this right away. But then it grows so much and it's overwhelming. It's so overwhelming and it's so beautiful. So just give yourself time. That's all I say. Give yourself time. Oh gosh, I'm going to cry. Whew. Okay. I just feel like so many moms are trapped at this point of feeling like I don't connect with my kid. And they shame themselves for it. And it's so easy to do. But it's not instant. It's not like right away. Something must be wrong with me. And there's so many times where we look at ourselves as moms as like, something must be wrong with me. And we point to ourselves. And so I just want to tell you that there's nothing wrong with you. And that a lot of us experience these things, but we're not brave enough to say it out loud. And also, we don't want it to be misconstrued with our kids as though we don't love them when we do. So, anyway. Let me freshen up myself here. It's hard for me to talk about motherhood because I love it so much. And I see so many moms, like this is something I'm passionate about, but I see so many moms suffering in their own prisons because there is this mask of motherhood where I have to do everything perfect. I have to do everything the right way. Every decision I have to make needs to be the right one. It's not true. But there is a mask on motherhood that's how it should be. As soon as you become a mother, you need to know all of the things. And so I hope it's freeing for you to hear that that's not the case for so many mothers, okay? And this was actually my last point, but I'm going to bring it in now because it flows, is no one has it all figured out. No one, not one mother, any mother that even you look up to that you think has it all figured out, they do not, okay? They do not have it all figured out. Okay, let me fix my face. But that's that point. And I want to share with you, I remember being in a store buying a stroller. And I could not figure out how to close the stroller. It was one of those strollers on display. And I'm in the line, and it's a mad line, like crazy, crazy line. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot close this to like get it in the cart and get it in my car. And so I was so embarrassed. And mind you, this is like one of those like baby mom consignment store pop-up things, right? And so you're getting all of this like gently used stuff for like really good deals. So I have all of these moms behind me and I'm like trying to close this. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, they're judging me. Like, what is this girl doing? She doesn't even know how to close a stroller, And there was one mom. And so I felt bad. I felt horrible because now I'm holding up the line. They're already understaffed and there's so many people in here. And so there was one mom that yelled out, no, I felt bad. So I apologized to the line. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm a first-time mom. I'm trying to figure this out. And then one mom yelled at me and she said, my kid is 17 years old and I'm still trying to figure stuff out. She was like, that's okay, mama. We are all figuring this out. And when she said that to me, it freed me up more than I think any advice I got is like being a mom. It's like we're all figuring it out. But it gave me that freedom, one, to make the choices I want to make, but then two, to not feel the pressure of feeling like I have to have it all together. I have to know what to do. Okay, let me get my face together and I'll be back. Oh gosh, this video is a lot harder to say than it was to like write the points. Okay, here's another thing. Sometimes we experience traumas or negative experiences as kids, right? And we say in those moments, if I'm a mom, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to do that to my kids. I would never say this to my kids. I would never do this to my kids, right? So be mindful not to overcorrect when it comes to your kid, but finding that middle ground. So, for example, let's say if your parents were extremely strict, okay, they were like very strict where it was debilitating. You couldn't do anything, you couldn't find your voice, you don't know how to make decisions now because it was just like they made all the decisions for you, right? So then you decide, well, I'm gonna let my kid do whatever they want to do. I'm gonna overcorrect that. I'm gonna give my kid all this freedom, not many boundaries. They can do what they want, discover who they are, be all the things, right? They can just go, live their best life, dream, fly, whatever it is. So we overcorrect and we don't implement, let's say, discipline in this example, right? So be mindful of the overcorrection, but trying to gauge a little bit more of a middle ground with it. And this could be with anything. If let's say you're even with yourself as a child, looking out for those traumas or negative experiences, like yourself as a child, let's just say you weren't enough when it comes to schoolwork or education, like you always had to like prove yourself that you're enough and things like that. Then pushing your children too much in education. Well, you need to go to the best schools. You need to be in every single summer camp with all the best, yada, 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 accolades and validations of all the things that look good and prestigious to other people to prove either one, to yourself, I made it, or two, look at my child. Look how amazing they are. But really, we're acting out of our own trauma and we're overcorrecting and we're pushing our child in a direction the child might not even want to be pushed in. And it might push them too far, right? So be mindful of any of the traumas or any of the negative experiences you've experienced and how that is relating to how you parent. Let's say if also being mindful if you have anxious feelings or tend to get anxious about things, right? We can pass these things onto our kids of like, oh, now I'm worried about being anxious and I'm worried about passing that on to my kid, you know? But also allowing your kid to see, okay, how are you dealing with this when these feelings arrive? That's important. Don't just deal with these feelings in your closet, in your room by yourself. How are you coping with these things? What does that look like? What does it look like to experience these emotions, but then also to walk through them and to get to the other side of them where you're functioning well? Okay. So keep that in mind. You don't have to hide things, but also don't overcorrect these negative experiences because of what you experience. I would never do that. And sometimes we have those things, and it's great to decide what you're not doing with your kids. That's great. But instead of going all the way, swinging the pendulum all the way to the other side, finding a little bit more of that middle ground or that gray area for yourself and for your child. Okay, this other one is big, which is community. Find your communities. If you have some already, nurture and make connection points with the ones that you have. But now that you're stepping into this transition, try to find some communities where people are in a similar life stage as you. That's really, really important, where you can talk about these type of things that don't get talked about out loud, but more kitchen table talk, as people say, right? Where you can be, and it's so freeing to have these connection points with people when they're real and the masks are off. It's not everything's perfect. Here I am, Sally Sue, da 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 da. No. Get you some real friends, okay? And if you find out the community that you're in that you thought was going to be great is actually draining, get out of it. You don't have to stay there, okay? But give some communities a chance. Find your people, especially as you're transitioning. And that's any transition, whether you're transitioning into becoming married, whether you're transitioning into divorce, whether you're transitioning into kids, whether you're transitioning into empty nesters. Find your people, okay? And that takes intentionality. It's a lot harder as you get older because you're not seeing the same people over and over and over again. Relationships take time. Remember, it takes intention. Okay, so build that. It takes time. It takes time. It's not going to be that one time you go out and yay, I got this friend. No. Find communities that meet on a regular, where you can insert yourself and you feel comfortable there. Stay there for a bit, see how it feels. Yes, there might be times where you're tired, you can't show up, but don't let that be every time, especially if you're working and being intentional on working on community. Now, if community is not a thing for you, you don't need it, you don't want it, then actually I haven't met that person. But I'm sure you're good. This point doesn't apply to you if that's the case. But sometimes we really do. It's so freeing to have community. I haven't met anyone that doesn't need community. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert or extrovert. Sometimes people like say, well, I'm an introvert. Yeah, but you still need a person. That just means sometimes maybe you like to go deeper with your person. You have very quality deep people versus, more surface level people or things like that. So keep in mind, doesn't matter how you like to connect with people, but connect. That will serve you. Find your people. And it doesn't feel good to search in the beginning. It doesn't. I'm not going to say it feels like, yay, I'm going to go find friends and new community. It doesn't feel like that, but I will say it can change your life when you do find those people, and it's worth it. When you find the right people that truly love you for you, no judgment, it's 100% worth it. Okay. So do the work if it's worth it for you. If it's not worth it for you, it's not something that you want, not something you desire, you're fine. Don't worry about it. But if that is something you want, do something. If that is something you want, do something about it. Don't just stay in that, oh, I wish, I hope, I want, but I like staying in the house all the time. Okay. On the other side of that discomfort is what you truly want. So get to the other side of that discomfort. Okay. Now, as I said before, I said my last point already is no one has it all figured out. No one. But I will say that if you write out your values and know what your values are, what you truly, truly care about, not what other people told you to care about, not what somebody else's mom told you to care about, not what some book or podcast told you to care about. Think about the things that you truly care about, and that can help you make decisions as you're parenting. But keep in mind your values, and then you'll have even more confidence in the things that you choose when it comes to being a mom, when it comes to just instilling things in your kids. There may be things you truly care about that no one else cares about, but taking those action steps and seeing how your kid responds. Remember, it's a relationship. And that doesn't mean they're going to be like, yes, hurry up. But there are going to be certain things that you want to instill in your kids for their benefit and possibly maybe for your benefit, but not to be confused with selfish ambitions of you pushing your kids. Let's say I live in Texas, right? Pushing your kids in football, because you wanted to be the dream football person, or because they hold football as like the pinnacle of all things. I'm not saying that. I don't want that to be confused. But maybe different characteristics you want them to have, different things. You may not care as much about education. You may care more that they're an honest person. So really being intentional about honesty with them, when they do lie, if they do lie, what that looks like. More so when they do, what that looks like. But then some kids learn out of it and they don't do, it's not their thing. And I have met kids like that where they are very, very honest, but knowing what are the things you truly value and how you want to implement that in your parenting. Sometimes we take on things that aren't ours and we feel like this is how it should look because this is what my mom thinks is good, or this is what this lady I admire thinks is good, or this is what insert religion thinks is good. You figure out if that faith really matters to you, you live by it. If your core values really matter to you, live by it, instill that, find pieces where you can implement that in your parenting. If it doesn't, don't pretend. That's where we start to waver of like, oh, I don't know, da, da, da. And it's okay not to know if you're making the right decision. Some things we won't know 100%. But you can feel secure if you're focused on, okay, long term, this is what I'm looking at. Yeah, short term, they may not win this award, that award. But long term, do I want them to have this skill long term? Is this going to serve them across their lifespan? Right? And looking at that, what are those things you want to instill in your kids versus this award here, this other award there. Okay, last point here, mama. You deserve great things too. A lot of times when it comes to you choosing things for yourself and it's solely for your benefit, You will choose like the lowest thing, the lowest tier, or maybe medium tier. But you deserve the best option, okay? If it's something you truly want, I just want to encourage you. Whether it's the china in the cabinet, use that china. Use that nice thing. If it's an elevated service, let's say getting your nails done, go all out. You deserve the nice things. So many times as moms, we choose the bare minimum option. Like, oh no, I'm not going to get a massage. That's too much. Oh no, I'm not going to go for a walk. I don't have time. Oh no, I'm not going to get that nice thing because, oh, there's so many other things I can do with that. I just want to say, sometimes in your decision making, choose yourself and choose the best option. Don't always go for mediocre. Go for that VIP because you are the MVP in your life, okay? Without you, there's no you. So don't go for, oh, I'm gonna use these little paper plates or the cheapest thing, or I'm gonna use a napkin, right? No. Sometimes if you want something nice, use that china you have in a cabinet, or use your nice silverware, your nice plates. Don't just allow them to just collect dust, okay? So keep that in mind. Hopefully this video helped you. I know it would have helped me, bare minimum. It would have helped me. And I feel like even making this video was like a piece of healing for me as well too. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, we are growing in this channel. I want to continue to grow in this community, talking about real things. It's really important for me to help people grow and strengthen their families, them as a couple, but then also yourselves. So until next Wednesday, I'll see you. Bye.